Okay, well, welcome to class. Today we're going to be talking more about business stuff. This is also going to be helpful in taxis, for example, or public transportation. It's about small talk. So small talk at work, so there's not this awkward silence, maybe if you're in an elevator or something like that. So that's going to be the topic for today. Okay, excuse me, I have bad allergies, so I sound terrible, but I'll be fine. So there's a couple different topics. My first question is for Anna and Ken. What are kind of the basic topics do you think we can talk about with other people? For small talk, what are the basic topics? There's probably 5, 6 different topics we can talk about.
I would
Well,
talk about weather.
Okay, so you, so Ken would talk about weather first. That's fine. And Anna, what about you? What's the first topic you think of?
yeah, the weather.
Okay, good. And so how can we talk about the weather? Do you say, what's the weather like? You can't really say it. You're so fast. You can't just automatically say, hey, Ken, what's the weather like if we're in the same area? So how are different ways that we can talk about, it's okay, Anna, that we can talk about weather, for example? We're looking for more open-ended questions. So for example, Anna and Ken, why don't you do a little role play for me? All right, we'll see how this goes, and then maybe I can help you with some different ways, okay? Let's say Ken and Anna are in the office at work. I don't know. And all right, perfect. Sounds good, Anna. And so why don't you two just start talking about anything about the weather? All right, so it doesn't matter who's who. Anna, if you'd like to start, you can start the conversation. So a little role play about weather. All right. Is that okay for you two?
Role play? Okay, yes.
Yeah, a quick role play. I want to see how you would do it now, because I have different ways of asking maybe questions, but I'd like to see how naturally this happens for you. Okay. So Anna, is it okay if you do a role play with Ken?
Yes, it's okay. Who goes first?
Whoever you prefer. Okay.
When you say whoever, I'm sorry. It is weird because when we talk together at the same time, you know, like it happens. It happens just now, and it happens many times.
It does. It does. And
And
you're right.
I feel it's awkward. That's the reason. Once I was quiet, and you said, "Are you?" And someone said, "Are you a boat or something like that?" You
Or
know.
you mute, yeah. No, well, I watch the little microphones on your pictures. That's how I know who's muted and unmuted. So that's kind of how sometimes I know that, oh, you want to talk. So that's one way that you can show
Yes,
me is if you unmute yourself.
I like talking. I like talking, but not at the same time. It's embarrassing.
Oh, it's not
Who
embarrassing. It's fine.
who
Don't
goes
worry.
first? Who goes first?
It doesn't matter to me. Whoever would like to start the conversation. Well, Ken, it kind of looks like you. Anna's muted herself. So, Ken, why don't you start the conversation about whether you two are in the office at work, okay?
Okay. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning, Kim.
Yes.
It's
How are
really
you?
hard. I'm fine, thank you. And you? How is it going?
Yeah. It's nice, but also I like this weather. It's clear and not so cold, not so hot.
Yes, it's a very nice day today, isn't it? So I like when the weather is this way, don't you?
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I like May. Not men. Spring, sorry. Yeah, I like spring weather here. Yeah, that's great.
Me too. Me too. The only drawback is that um, some people get a lot of allergies during this time. Thank God
Ah,
I don't have any allergies.
yes. The people who suffer from pollen allergies, yeah, it's not a good season. Yeah, but I'm I'm glad you don't have it. And yeah, so anyway, uh,
Mhm.
and also I like the reason why I like spring or because a lot of flowers start blooming. That's why I like the April here. And how about your place? In
Yes. Here in Brazil, it's there because we are in the same place. There in Brazil, it's sunny all year long here, and
oh
we have
wow, nice.
flowers
Oh
during the
nice.
entire year.
Mhm,
Different flowers. But I bet it's very different in
mhm,
in your in your place in Japan because you have the
mhm.
blossom
Nice.
cherries during the springtime.
Right. In the During the winter time, there are some flowers blooming, but not so many. But all of a sudden, when the spring comes, a lot of flower blooms. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's why I like spring here.
Me too. I bet that it's awesome. I've never seen autumn, because
Mhm.
we don't have a well-defined seasons in my country. I
Hmm.
think it
I
must
see.
be very nice too, the autumn, right?
Hmm.
Dry
Yes.
leaves, yellow colors,
Hmm.
fruits.
I think autumn is fine, usually because the summer air is very humid, so it's not so comfortable. But the autumn and spring air is clear and uh, not so humid, so it's comfortable season here.
Yes.
Mm.
Um, but I I enjoy hot weather. I'm accustomed to this kind of climate, sunny all year long. I don't like
Mm.
winter, definitely.
I see. So you want
Mm,
more change in terms of weather there,
mm,
more changing,
yes.
or I see, I got it. Wow. But anyway, seems like yeah, you are living a good yeah place. So thank you.
All right, good. So I'm going to stop it there because it seemed like the conversation was ending. Okay. So it was good. Um, and I liked when Anna said, right? Kind of like, yeah, I'm agreeing. What do you think? Okay, so those are the kind of things that I want to talk about. And I know that you kind of did that at the beginning. For example, you say, oh, it's beautiful today, isn't it? Okay. It's beautiful oops, today, isn't it? Okay. What kind of grammar am I using with this sentence?
It's a tag
All right, yeah,
question.
Anna, I definitely understand. So, yeah, what did you say, Anna? Sorry.
I said it's a tag question.
Yeah, a question tag. So those are question tags. And do you know when we use those? Or how we the purpose of question tags?
Maybe it's it's a correction since it is correction form. So how can I say to get agreement to maybe to get closer feeling maybe the synthesizer feeling or something like that.
hmm The thing is if I say, for example, it's beautiful today, you might not have this feeling of, I need to respond. Maybe they're just talking or thinking out loud. You say, oh, it's beautiful today. Something like that. We need more. So we're giving our opinion and we're asking your opinion as well. What do you think? Okay, so that's when I say it's beautiful today, isn't it? You're almost obligated to respond. And normally it's just a little sentence, just something little. Oh yeah, it is. It's really beautiful today. And then maybe that will start your conversation. Okay, so that's one way that we can talk about that. Or you can just say directly, how about this weather? What do you think? Or maybe, oh, I heard on the news, or the forecast is going to be, and that will kind of start to get them interested in the conversation as well. Or you can say, kind of looks like it's going to rain today. What do you think? Or have you watched the weather today? Okay. And those are different ways that we can also ask as direct questions. Okay. So do either of you have any questions about asking, for example? Okay, so question tags and basically direct questions. Okay. Any other comments? I liked how you were saying how Anna said, oh, they're in Brazil because you're together. So that was also good.
Also, how can I say? You said maybe question form require the answer. So conversation usually like throw the ball and catch a ball and throw the ball and catch a ball. Maybe
Exactly.
that generates such kind of communication.
Exactly. And also, everyone thinks they say that the best or easiest thing to talk about it is yourself. So you can always ask them, oh, how was your day today? So, oh, I'm doing fine, I'm doing this. So it's kind of another, how are you? How's it going kind of thing. I'm asking the other person. Or in your situation between the two different countries, you can say, oh, for example, in Brazil, we don't have different seasons. I liked when you said, we don't have very well-defined seasons. That was really good. And then Ken can say, oh, well, the autumn in Japan is blah, blah, blah. And so there's differences there between the countries. So I would say good job on that one. What about other topics besides weather? Anything else that we can talk about? And if you want, you can write. If you don't feel comfortable just speaking, that's fine too. Anything else you can talk about? Or what are some things that we shouldn't? You can go ahead and talk. There's only two of you today. So what about topics that we shouldn't talk about? Maybe that might be easier. And we won't talk about them, but we'll mention them. Anna, can you tell me some things that you shouldn't talk about?
I think we shouldn't talk about politicians because people can get very upset sometimes. Also, religion, because some people are very, very, how can I say, like religious zealots. They have very strong dogmas about their religions, and they don't like to be contradicted.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So
and then they can get angry, upset,
Mm-hmm.
But it's somehow inevitable to talk about politicians, politics,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we end up talking about it because it's part of our life and it's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be very careful.
Exactly. That's the most important thing. And maybe you can mention a topic lightly and say, oh, I watched the news last night. What did you think about this speech or something? That is even, a little bit too much because there definitely will be opinions. One of the words I think you were kind of looking for is opinionated. Opinionated. Some people are very opinionated. Opinionated, that's right. Okay. Or we can say defensive, maybe. about a topic or they're very passionate. And that becomes the problem. Because even though, let's say, we're friends or something like that, we might have different views on things. And you need to be very cautious, like Anna said, when you're talking about those. So good, I would definitely say politics and religion are two things you shouldn't talk about. Is there anything else that you can think of? Those are the two top ones for me, so.
Maybe a kind of sensitive, controversial, heavy topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's too heavy to start a conversation. Also, it's how can I say? Maybe sometimes it agitates some other people's feeling. Or
Mm-hmm.
also sometimes I feel on the internet chat, in the chat room, hi, how are you? I'm fine. How old are you? What's your occupation? I think it's too direct for me. I don't know. It could be a cultural difference in some cultures. It's difficult to, I mean, important to know about it from the beginning. I don't know the reason, but I don't feel well if that's can, yeah, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden happen.
Exactly. However, talking about things maybe at the office in general, what's happening today, maybe you've talked about the weather. What are other things that we can talk about now? Anything else that we can talk about? Maybe current events, for example, something that everyone knows about in the world. Maybe we were talking about earthquakes before class, so maybe there's an earthquake somewhere, or something like that, something that's very well known in the news all over the world, right? So is there anything going on in the world today? Anything that's very important? Nothing?
Maybe that it's a matter of balance, from that, maybe if the conversation get deeper, or maybe, but from the beginning, all of a sudden, bringing such heavy topics,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's hard. Also, it's maybe kind of argument would happen if that. So it's it's case by case anyway. But in general, bringing heavy talk from at the beginning or sensational topic from the beginning, somewhat dangerous to start conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Anna, you've put Siri in there, and I think it's one of those topics too. It's a sad situation. A lot of things are happening that's been going on for a long time, and I don't know if that would be the best. I mean, of course, it's a current topic, and that's a current event. That's what I was asking for. But personally, I probably wouldn't talk about that because there's just a lot behind that, and I mean, maybe everyone thinks the same, but maybe they don't. So a good example of a current event. Yep, no, that was perfect. But personally, I don't, that's not one thing that I would, just, hey, how's Syria today? But yes, of course, it is a current event. That's fine. So good. So how, okay, that's fine. What are ways that we can ask about those current events? General ones, nothing specific. What do you think? Maybe sports? Do you think we could talk about sports? Or maybe there's a new restaurant opening in the town. Maybe there's something else. You can just say in general, have you watched the news today? Did you see what's going on this next week downtown, for example? Maybe there's a food festival or something. So any suggestions, any maybe ways that we can start the conversation?
In the past, I often chatted on the, kind of language exchange site. So I thought maybe, how can I say, to introduce me or myself also, how can I say, I ask, other people's my talking partner's culture or not too personal life. Maybe I'd rather ask someone to generate the conversation because sometimes I'm talking by myself or my life or my country, blah blah blah, could be boring. So to generate the conversation, idea to ask someone's cultures, my talking partner culture, or what is happening there, or not so private topic, but yeah, that's my strategy at that time.
Okay, and how do you go about asking? Because, for example, if I see you in the United States, obviously you're from Japan, so I'm going to assume that you look like a Japanese person. Is it okay to assume? For example, I mean, maybe if I saw Anna, maybe I wouldn't know she's exactly from Brazil right away. And so how would you, I'm challenging you today, Ken. Exactly, you wouldn't. So how would you investigate? For example, maybe you hear their accent, I don't think your accent's from here. Where are you from? Many times people will ask me after, they say, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. And then they'll say, so where are you from? Because obviously my accent isn't 100% Spanish. And I don't feel too bad. I know that I have my American accent when I speak Spanish. I'm not bilingual from birth, so that's the best we can do. We'll always have another accent, our own native accent when speaking. I shouldn't say always, but a lot of times. And so do you think that's rude if someone just says, you introduce yourself, they introduce themselves, and then they say, oh, so where are you from? How would you feel if that happened? Or has that happened, Ken or Anna, to either of you? Anna, would you like to go first? Do you have any experience?
I don't have any experience, but I wouldn't feel bad about it. No. Usually people guess that when I start talking that I'm Brazilian because of my accent. I think it's okay to ask where are you from.
Okay. And that's fine too. Like I said, when I start speaking, people automatically know that I'm not from here. So it depends on my mood. I think sometimes I'm like, come on, why did you have to ask me that question? But the majority of the times I understand. And Ken, has it happened to you? I mean, you were in the United States living for a while. So any experiences?
Well, yeah, people almost always ask where I'm from or what is your religion or such kind of topic in a cafeteria. If I eat alone in cafeteria, I think that's a good part, a good culture in America. Or I don't know, it's at least in the South. People talk to me and to having a eating to and food meal together. So naturally they ask such kind of question, and so I don't feel bad about that. But to explain the religious thing is a bit complicated. So because also I maybe so I explained about that kind of rationally, not kind of no, that's kind of emotional kind of thing. And if I ask someone to somewhat difficult question, maybe hey, can I ask or may I ask? Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice way to say is, oh, and sometimes I do the same things. Oh, can I ask, how old you are, for example, or can I ask what religion you are, or do you mind also? So that's a really good point too. Instead of just saying, where are you from? It's like, oh, do you mind telling me where you're from? I don't think, you're from around here, for example. So good. Perfect. All right. Let's see. Let's say we're out at the park. Okay. You're out of the park, you're not doing anything. Maybe you have your dog with you, or you're walking your cat, for example. Or or if you have a child with you, how can we maybe go up to someone? Maybe your dog is playing in the park with the other dogs, for example, and you're just there and the other owners of the dogs are there. How would you talk to them? How would you say hi? Maybe which dog is yours? Do either of you have a dog? I don't. I have cats, and I don't walk them. But Ken, do you have a dog?
I used to keep the dog. Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever go to a dog park, for example?
At that time, there were no
Oh, right.
dog park a long time ago. So I don't know how. So I rarely communicate with other dog keepers at that time because my dog I can say barks to the dog other dog. So I don't know how to. I was a kid. I didn't know how to handle it. So I just leave from other dogs. But yeah, I don't know how to communicate with them.
So dogs can communicate between each other, between themselves, however owners can't. Okay. And your dog barked at. Okay, we use that
I see.
preposition. Good. Anna, do you have a dog? Did you have a dog?
I don't have a dog. I don't have any pets. But I used to when I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
and people used to start conversations with me because of the doggy, you know.
Okay,
And
good.
okay,
Well, and what would they say? What kind of questions would they ask about your dog, or how would they start the conversation?
um, things like, yeah, your dog is very cute, and things like that, and once things like that. And we used to play with all children, and my dog used to chase us. And then my mom, when when she was living in a house in front of the beach, she used to have two dogs, and then the guys used to uh, to how can I say, flirt on me because of the doggy. You know, they used to say, it's a my mom's doggy. When I yes, flirt with me when I used to take the dog for a walk along the beach. The guys would stop me and talk about the dog, then ask me out or something like that. You know?
Interesting. Yeah, so dogs can. Did you ever go on a date because of your dog?
No.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. But yeah, and not just dogs, and maybe it's a different animal. Um, or maybe it's a baby. Maybe you have a baby and you're walking the baby. So, oh, how cute. Your baby's cute. How old is your baby? What's the name? Boy or girl? Things like that. Very basic things. Good. All right. So it's kind of, we were talking about maybe waiting, maybe waiting for your dogs or something like that. But if you're waiting at the doctor's office, for example, would you ever go and talk to anyone about anything?
Maybe usually no, because I don't know the patient's condition. For some patient, it's difficult for them to talk. So, but if I go there kind of regularly and naturally, sometimes the people, especially senior citizen talks like a lounge. They are regular patients. Maybe that hospitals they are talking each other vitally. Yeah. So, but if I was a temporary patient there, maybe I wouldn't talk. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way. Sometimes it's just like uncomfortable. Like you said, you don't know how the other person is. Maybe it's serious, not serious. So I think it depends on the situation. However, when you said maybe if I'm a regular customer, maybe a regular patient, going into for checkups, for treatment or something like that, and you start seeing the same people, then maybe you might be able to say, hey, I see you quite often here, and I'm here obviously quite often too. Maybe what kind of disease do you have or something like that, then maybe it would be okay. But I think you'd have to see them a good 5, 6, 7, 8 times in there to be sure. But yeah, Anna, would you ever approach anyone? I mean, let's say you're going into maybe at the dentist's office in the waiting room. Do people talk that don't actually
Yes.
know each other?
Here in Brazil, we don't have to see the person more than once to start a conversation. Always when I go to the doctor and I'm waiting, we always end up talking, about the waiting time or about something. If there is a child, we talk about the child, you know. We always talk about things, Brazilian people are very, how can I say, outgoing. Um, yes, we are, and we are very talkative. It's different when we go to another country. We think that people are cold because here we talk a lot with everyone everywhere.
That's interesting, yeah. And actually here in Spain too, that happens more in the south. And I think it has something to do with the sun, to tell you the truth. Because I've also lived in the north of Spain for a lot less time and many years ago. But there's definitely a difference between the attitudes of the people from the north compared to the south. And that to me is the sun. So maybe the sun, vitamin D, you're happy, you're just always talking. Same thing happens here is when, for example, you get on a bus, someone says hello, everyone in the bus says hello. You walk into a shop, bacteria. Well, I'm going to ask you about that when I finish. For example, when you walk into a store, you can say hello, and there'll be some people in there that will respond to you, or same thing when you leave the store, they'll say goodbye. So I thought it was because of the sun. Anna, you said bacteria. Why? What did you read?
Actually, there are more than one uh, article saying that the Toxoplasma gondii is the most common protozoa in some countries, and if you don't have any problem, it doesn't affect your body, but it changes your personality, and then it says that the friendly way of being, the easygoing way of being might be related to the to the Toxoplasma gondii, and I thought it was interesting. I saw a documentary about how bacteria might affect behavior, you know, and 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 things like that. And there is a parasite that turns ants, ants, the insect, like a zombie during the night, and it was a very interesting thing. And then it says that there is a hypothesis that some parasites can change host behavior, and sometimes in a way that benefits the parasites, and sometimes no. But uh, the article I read once, in the article it was written that uh, the extroverted way of being might have be something to do with the Toxoplasma gondii. It's a bacteria that the cats have. So probably you must have this bacteria in your body.
Well,
But
and
it doesn't.
sorry,
Uh,
regional?
does excuse me?
Is it in a specific region? Like I said, I thought it was because of the sun. So that's
No. Usually cats have this kind of bacteria, Toxoplasma
okay.
gondii, and people who have cats usually have this bacteria. But if you don't have any problem with your immune system, it doesn't affect you. But in Latin countries, it's very prevalent, this bacteria. It's some articles that I read, and I thought, it's interesting. In the magazine, super interesting. Have you seen this magazine? Yes, there was a huge article about how bacteria might affect behavior, even in human beings. And then this bacteria turns you more easygoing, and it might be a reason for Latin American people be easygoing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And probably you have this bacteria in your body.
Interesting. Well, I do have cats. I don't know if I was super outgoing to begin with. I mean, in Wisconsin, we're nice. For example, when we walk into a store, we'll hold the door for someone else, but I would never walk into a store and say hello to people or get on the bus and say hello to people. Um, so that's interesting. And I guess in Wisconsin is in the north of the United States, so um, is the bacteria harmful, Anna? I mean, if it changes your personality, I don't know if it's good or bad, but if you're more open-minded or not or more friendly, I don't think that's negative. But are there negative forms? I know there's the
Yes,
bacteria that cats have can be.
this bacteria um, is harmful if you have immune problems,
Okay.
but not always. Um, I I will try to find an article.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that'd be interesting. My mom actually said, in the past year, I haven't been eating gluten, so any wheat products. I mean, sure, here and there I eat some, but my mom read an article that said it might have been a virus that I had or some kind of virus that I specifically got, and now the whole gluten thing is not good for me. All right, well, I'll take a look at that. Thanks, Anna. So I think it's interesting. So that can happen. So we're definitely off topic. I don't think these are things that we would normally say, hey, do you have any viruses? And do you have any diseases that affect your life? I don't think we'd ask about those. So, so what other topics can we talk about? In general public, with other people, these small talk conversations.
Other things, I think hobby or
Oh,
also anything my talking partner are interested in. I try to expand that topic. That's
okay, good.
that's a bite for fish. So if they bite my topic, I expand that. I keep talking to that topic if it is not comfortable. If it is comfortable topic.
All right, good. Well, actually, would you two like to do the last role play? About 8 minutes left in class. Would you like to do another role play about hobbies? I think that's a good one to talk about. Something relatively simple. We've talked about different ways that we can ask. We can do the question tags. We can just directly ask. You can maybe say, "Oh, I like to do this on the weekends. What about you?" Okay. So Anna and Ken, one more role play. All right, Ken agrees. That's good. Anna, since you like talking, I'm sure that you agree as well. And I think Ken started last time. So Anna, why don't you go ahead and start the conversation this time? Again, it doesn't matter where you are. Maybe you're waiting at the doctor's office. Maybe you're at the office at work. So Anna, when you're ready, you can start the conversation. Okay?
Okay, let's say we are in the doctor's office.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it seems that we are gonna wait here for ages.
Oh yeah, a lot of customers here. I got tired with that. So can we talk for a while?
Sure, of course. You seem familiar.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
live
I know.
do you live
Hmm.
nearby? I have the impression that I've
Yes,
seen you.
I live close to here, so that's why I often come to here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I think we might have bumped into each other
Hmm.
in the streets. uh, so, what do you do for a living?
Ah, yes, I'm teaching English in the school. So
Awesome.
yeah. Mm.
I like
So
English very much, you know.
oh really? Actually, I
Yeah.
my one of my hobbies are talking in English. How about you?
Oh my gosh, we found our common ground.
Oh really?
It's one
Oh.
of my hobbies too.
Mhm.
How
But,
nice.
but yes, because people here are not many people don't talk English, so so I I want to talk in English in my daily life. So why don't we talk in English?
Yes, I've been, I can say that I'm addicted to English, you know. And
Mhm.
when I was a child, I used to hate English very much, but now I think it's so
Mhm. Oh,
important, you know. It's a
I
universal
see.
language. Everything is in
Mm.
English if you go to
Oh,
websites,
mm.
if you watch movies. And now
That's
I
right.
can say that I'm fluent, and it's awesome because I've been watching movies
Mm.
in English, and now I can understand almost everything. What about you?
Yeah, actually, I like English because I have a relative, American relatives. Because I, when I was a kid, when I uh, played with them, they could switch languages. So I thought, wow, it's cool. That's the primary motivation. And after that, I realized, as you said, English is a kind of a universal language. So nowadays, those who can talk English and those who cannot talk English, opportunities pretty much different. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Do you have American relatives? I have too. We found something else in
Mhm.
common. I have
Mhm.
many relatives living in Florida. You
Mm,
know,
wow, I
actually, I
see.
have relatives um, spread out everywhere. I have people living
Mhm.
in Poland, you know,
Mm.
in
So
Europe.
are they talk are they bilingual or monolingual now?
Excuse me, could you come
Ah,
again?
are they bilingual? Are they
I
talking?
Yes, all of most of them. And some relatives speak Portuguese and English. Some
Mm,
speak Polish and
mm,
English. My
mm,
cousin lives in New Zealand. She's
mhm.
bilingual too. She
Oh,
speaks
that's nice.
Portuguese and English. You
Mhm,
know, almost everyone speaks English.
mm. Yeah, nowadays English skill is required more and more. So yeah, so I'm often attend online class. So do you know
Me too.
do you know that?
Yes, me too. And I like it because there are many benefits. If you make a
Yeah,
mistake, no one will see you, so you'll feel more at ease to make mistakes. And
exactly.
I have the impression that you learn quickly when you learn online. You
Mhm.
know, that's my personal experience.
Yeah, exactly.
By the
Because you
way,
know.
how
Mhm.
did you become a teacher?
Ah, Because you know that how can I say, until the university, until high school, teacher's license is necessary to teach here. So I went to the university and I took some additional course in the university to get teacher's license, and then I went to the my alma mater school for my teaching training. After that, I got
Awesome.
the teacher's license.
Have you ever thought about teaching online?
Oh, yeah, but no, because in terms of English, because maybe I can teach the beginner level students, but I cannot teach intermediate or advanced level students. So,
You know, that's my dream to teach
oh,
online.
that's nice.
I
Oh,
applied
you,
for, yes, I do
mm,
like to,
mm,
because I
oh,
like
that's
to
nice.
promote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think if it's okay, we'll stop there. Great conversation. Obviously, it was very fluent and very, it just kind of happened. So that was really good. And I like that both of you, your hobby is speaking English. So that works out perfectly for today. So again, that was a great example. And again, you know, the way of asking people, or Anna, how you said at the beginning, oh, I think I've seen you here before, or you look familiar, something like that. That was really good. So perfect. Ken, you did great as well. Perfect. So we're finishing class. We're at the end. It's now the full hour that, well, since we started. Tomorrow I have a class about going shopping. So we'll do some vocabulary and things like that. And then on Wednesday, I have the present perfect continuous tense, if I'm not mistaken. And then Saturday we have a conversation about robots, and I don't remember the class on Sunday. So we have 4 classes next week. So I know, Anna, I'm sorry. I will have one in May that will be later because I have a wedding to go to on a weekend. So, but that's it. So great job today, guys. Great conversation. And Anna, I know I won't see you tomorrow, but Ken, hopefully I'll see you. Okay.
Good. Thank you very much. See
You're
you.
welcome. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.